Hi, and welcome to Foxys Den. I just thought we might talk about audio cables, and it would seem there's many out there that would seem to think that you need to spend obscene amounts of money on what is simply just an audio interconnect. Well, here's my thoughts on the subject, having worked in the industry making audio cables in one of my last jobs. Back in the day of the big hi-fi boom of the 70s, there were many great British manufacturers, some of them still with us and sadly some not, although some of the names may remain. And as many Japanese manufacturers entered the market, most items came with a cheap set of interconnects, which most audiophiles today would dismiss them and say they were not fit to tie up your bin bags. Well, in some cases they might be right, but maybe not back in the day, as most manufacturers' reputation, particularly the Japanese, they'd have at least made sure the cables were fit for purpose. And for the most part, they were. Somewhere along the line, these more expensive cables came about, sometime in the late 70s or thereabouts. Of course, the Chinese were quick to copy not only the expensive cables, but the cheap and nasty, which most of them probably were. And thereby reinforcing the fact that spending more money would be an improvement. As some of these cheap cables were not made with particularly good cable, with poor screening, in some cases not even wired correctly. I have actually come across instances where some of these have actually been reversed. The connections on the inside of the phono plugs have been reversed, and as I said, that's done wonders for your stereo image, that has. And as I say, the equipment on most equipment was not always of the best quality, although they were as good as they were in the day. But they do tend to corrode a little bit, and often made a poor contact after some time with tarnished and corrosion and what have you, leading to create a rather crude rectifier between the connections, and with the long leads making RF breakthrough inevitable. But having spent a considerable amount on a new cable and the act of twisting it to fit with a nice gold-plated connector, which a lot of them seem to be these days. As I said, the simple fact of twisting and trying to get that one to fit on there will actually improve the connection. Therefore, making a big improvement to what the cheap cable was in the first place. Again, reinforcing the fact that these expensive cables make a difference. Well, they certainly make a difference to your bank balance, and a greater extent the manufacture of said cables. But as I've said about cables, is when I was working, actually, I just basically wanted to give our customers what I wanted really, which was an affordable, reliable and good quality interconnect. Well, with which anyone interested in hi-fi can solder should actually simply just make their own interconnects. And if you use a good quality screened cable from a reputable manufacturer which gives the specifications of the cable, i.e. the number of strands, the insulation, capacitance per meter, and use a good quality connector on the end, again from a reputable manufacturer, then you'll have a good interconnect which will last and work as well as any interconnect costing more than you can imagine. But did we sell many of these cables at a reasonable cost? No. Not until we quadrupled the price of them, and then they sold like hotcakes. What does that tell you? Well, yeah, there are obviously more people out there with more money than sense. But as I say, we just gave the public what they wanted, and as I say, that was an expensive cable which cost far more than what it was really worth. But again, as I say, it was of a very high quality, This is one of the cables that I used to make when we used to make SCART cables, and as you can see, this is quite a flexible cable, and it's also quite a high quality one as well, because all the connectors in the cables inside here are all individually screened, and they're all properly terminated, because as I say, on some of the cheaper ones of these, as I say, it's just basically a multi-core cable with just a thick rubber sheath, and as I said, that and very, very poor screening in itself. But I'm sure you'll be wanting me to undo one of these and let you have a look at the inside of one of these. But as I say, we shall unscrew this one and let you have a look. This should be fun, if it comes apart, that is. It's a long time since here we go. There we go. As you can see, sorry about that. I think you can see now that all these terminals that are connected onto this particular cable there, as I say, all of them are gold plated, which is another thing that everyone requested, even though there's no I believe there's no gold plated SCART sockets. Well, not that I've come across any, and as everyone wanted the nice shiny gold ones, so they got the nice shiny gold ones. And of course, all these are crimped rather than soldered, and as you can see that, yeah, as I say, all these connections here, as I said, they're all the audio connections, the in and outputs of left and right, the switching on the blue wire there. Sorry about that. I keep forgetting where the lens is on my phone. And the others here are the video connections, which is composite video, and I can see from this one that we've actually got this one's actually been wired for SVHS. So there. Well, as I say, that's basically just one of my connectors, and as I said, those are all individually crimped, as I was saying, and they're actually very, very similar to the 1/4-inch tabs that you normally find on car electrical systems. And as I say, it's crimped the same way with the same sort of tool, although it's a very, very small tool that's done with that. I don't know whether I could make one of these again today. As I say, my eyesight is not what it used to be, and I used to be able to remember exactly which of these pins, sorry, all these pins in here. I used to remember exactly which one was which, and how to wire it, and it was usually a crossover when it came to the other side. So it did make it a little bit tricky to work with, because I didn't have color-coded wires, other than just the outer screening, which was particular colours. I tended to use the yellow cable for a composite video, and obviously I used the red and the blue and the green for the composite colours, and the audio one, as I said, that was the tricky one, as I said, because they were all the same colour, and each one was just a white wire, so you did have to buzz it out with a continuity tester. But there we go. As I said, that's one of the cables that I used to make, and this is one of the other ones that I do as well. These ones I made for my own personal use. These are actually used for the Revox, because you may have noticed that quite a lot of modern phono plugs are now getting quite chunky, and the spacings between the phono sockets on the back of most equipment is a little less. Well, it was a little less on the Revox, so I had to choose ones which enabled me to put them close enough together to plug in. And as I said, these were always marked 1 for the left and 2 for the right. And as I said, these are the ones that I've made for it. And you've noticed that you've obviously noticed that these are not gold plated. I feel there's really no need for it to be gold plated because the sockets on the back are not gold plated, and if it was good enough for them, as I say, it's good enough for me. So that was my thought. But having said that, as I say, gold plating is quite a good idea, because if all the sockets on the back of your hi-fi is gold plated anyway, then you're going to make a very good connection. But as I said, this is a simple one that I made up for another purpose. As I say, we've got a DIN plug on here and 2 phonos. So that's basically just one of the other leads that I've done as well. But as for the rest, these are just the cheap throwaway leads, as some people like to call them. I find them useful. As I say, I do use them, but if I'm going to connect any vintage piece of hi-fi equipment up, I tend to go for something like this, which is just the plain on-gold plated. As I say, if I've replaced the sockets, I'm loath to replace the sockets on the back of equipment, unless they're damaged and broken, and if they are, I'd like to try and replace them with the originals, because I like to keep everything original. But as I say, if I'm building something new, then of course I will use the gold-plated ones, because they generally do make a better connection. But yeah, but as I say, you just need to get ones with a decent gold plating, because an awful lot of them are not really well plated. I think you'll find that quite a lot of phono plugs have got the very bare minimum of gold plate on them. But there we go. That's those are my thoughts. I'm sure you've all got your own thoughts there, so please don't forget to leave comments in the the bit where you've got to do the typing, and let me know whether as to whether I've been talking a load of old shoe repairers. Well, that's all there is remains to say now is well, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave a thumbs up. Leave comments in the in whatever, and let me know what your thoughts are and what you think. And happy Halloween, everyone. Bye for now.